materials of what we're going to be talking about tonight. There's also some links on the presentation, and I'll email the presentation to you as well, so you can share it with the community, because a lot of them have links embedded in them. My name's Bret, and if you've never sat through any of my presentations before, I'm very informal. If you have a question, raise your hand. If I ignore you, it's because I didn't see you. So throw something at me. Not too hard, I hope. We also, just for your awareness, we have one of our volunteers in the room. So we recognize Bryce here. He's one of these just volunteers. He's also a Maristone Islander. And his lovely wife works in the vineyard. I'm sure some of you know that.
Very valuable couple.
So we give you a little update about East Jeff right now. We are running about 6,500 calls a year. We get about 120 here on the island. Our response time since the volunteer fire station has been open for business, we've seen a number of calls populate when there's volunteers there. And we've seen, as predicted, the response times cut almost in half to about 6 or 7 minutes, which is pretty phenomenal. So the volunteers are spending more time there. Some of them are island volunteers. Some of them are actually from other volunteer communities, such as Collar Point. You might see Mike Hart with a big Fu Manchu mustache. Mm-hmm. He's out there almost every weekend. He loves it there. He doesn't have a volunteer fire station where he lives in Collar Point. They have a garage. They don't have even a bathroom there, so he likes coming here. Mm-hmm. So if you see Mike, stop and say hi. He's a great guy. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was doing sheetrock this morning, so my throat's a little scratchy, so I'll try not to cough too much. We have a lot of change right now in East Jeff. We're at our board meeting next week. Our board is going to hear a resolution to allow me to purchase 2 brand new fire engines at $2.2 million. That's 2 of them, not 1, not that bad, but they're expensive. And it'll take approximately 600 days to get them. They're custom made. Wow. Yeah. We're also ordering a new ambulance, a new rescue, a new education van, which is a new mission for us. I was telling some of you about that. And then they're kicking me out of the red truck and giving it to one of our newer employees. The joke is they're putting me in a clown car. I think it's some sort of little SUV. So I don't really care. But I like our people to have the nicer vehicles that they can operate in and be safe. We also started a new mission a few weeks ago. We are reorganizing the administration of the organization, and now we have a community risk division. And this summer, that manager will be coming around and meeting with all the communities and presentations like this to announce what it's all about and how we're going to support you in a variety of new ways throughout the district, not just Maristone Island. And then some of you might know about CARES. Who here knows about CARES? CARES stands for Community Assistance and Referral Services. Referral and Education Services, sorry. It's an SUV with firefighter Jeff, who's a paramedic, and a social worker, and they drive around and follow up after all of you call 911. If you have lingering needs, they'll come and help you with almost anything. They're really good at what they do. We're biting our nails because it's entirely grant funded, and we haven't found out if it's going to get funded starting July 1 for next year. So we think we wrote a competitive grant. The Association of Washington Cities supports a large chunk of that program, as well as the OCH and the Olympic Community of Health and some other local grants as well. But we'll see how that goes. All right, getting on task here. Tonight's topics, we're going to talk about the wildfire outlook for 2024. We're going to talk about some incidents that have happened here in Jefferson County. Some of you want to talk about evacuations. We're going to talk about a new acronym. The fire service is renowned for acronyms. I try not to use them as much as I can, but I can't help it. So if I don't define an acronym, the rule among my staff is if I don't define it, I owe them a latte. Community Wildfire Protection Plan is what CWPP means. So the question I want to ask right now, this is audience participation time, is raise your hand if you think you're prepared for a wildfire right now. You feel confident, you don't have any doubts. Okay, a couple people. Okay. We're going to talk about what can happen, not what will happen. We're going to talk about probabilities and possibilities and hopefully give you some new tools for the toolbox. But what could happen here on Maristone Island and anywhere, if you're out and about shopping around and you can't get back to home, it's also important for you to be resilient in your car. So we're going to give you some knowledge and resources. We're going to talk about increasing your situational awareness and a call to action of what you can do practically to better prepare your household and most importantly your neighbors, because that's really exponentially where the metal meets the road. It's not enough for you to be prepared, Bryce. The magic happens when you can help others that maybe don't have the same abilities physically or financially or otherwise. That's what this whole program's about. It's all about the holes in the Swiss cheese. If you've ever seen my presentations before, when the holes in the Swiss cheese align, that's when a disaster happens. So we want to try to prevent all the holes in the Swiss cheese from aligning and be more resilient as a community. This is a screen grab from a little more than a month ago of the drought map. Where we're at right now, or at least April 11th. You can see us there in the upper left. We're abnormally dry to moderately dry. I think I heard over 7 inches lower average rainfall for the year than what we're supposed to have. Who here knows what a rain garden is? Rain garden? Okay, I'm building a home. My wife is tolerating me building a home down in Paradise Bay right now. And I just had to dig my rain garden last week. It's on the lowest spot of the whole property. So I'm back there reliving my glory days on a backhoe, and I'm thinking I'm gonna just sink in the mud, I'm gonna dig up muck. It's not gonna work. It was as dry as sand. It was like desert sand. I didn't hit any water or moisture whatsoever, which is not normal for us. This is the April outlook from NOAA for the temperatures and precipitation. And then this is what's going to happen here in May, June, and July. And then I think most of you are aware of this news that happened a couple weeks ago. The governor declared a drought. For some unknown reason, Seattle's not in a drought, so good for them, but we are. And then this is a screenshot that I took. You can see the dates along the top. Now, I'm a Californian, so getting cold is something I actually like because we never really got cold and we never really got rain. But this is too warm for us this time of year. This is nice in July, but in April, in May, this is too warm and too long of a warm period. That is kind of a call to your awareness that something is not right this year. This is the produced by NIFC, the National Interagency Fire Center in Boise. They have a bunch of, it's a fusion center for wildfire, and they have a bunch of smart people, smarter than me, with alphabet soup after their names. And they work on predictive models for wildfire seasons across the northern hemisphere, actually. They go all the way to Mexico. And this is the prediction for April. You can see the big red polygons there. And that's above normal potential. The white areas don't mean they're not going to get wildfire. The white areas just mean they're going to have their normal wildfire experience. This is us in July. Notice how California is all green. They got a lot of moisture that they're experiencing no need of there. And then August. So I get questions usually about this time about the burn ban. When's that going to happen? Okay. Somebody's going to ask me? It's going to happen soon. Because we don't want to wait. We've already had a couple of wildfires, people doing silly stuff, crazy stuff. I think I posted the weed burner information. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Is a wildland fire different than a forest fire?
They're subtly different, but they're almost the same. Especially
so just to differentiate between the two. Okay.
No. Mm-hmm. This is just talking about the potential. Also, this is not saying we are guaranteed a tragedy or a catastrophe. So now we're going to talk about what has happened. Last year we had something unusual for us. We had a red flag warning. Red flag warnings happen a lot where I come from in California, in the foothills of Yosemite. They don't happen a lot here. And red flag warning means all the holes in Swiss cheese have aligned, okay, all of them. We have super dry fuel, we have hot, dry wind, and then we have temperatures really higher than normal. So the only thing that's needed is a spark. We are expecting to have more red flag warnings days this next season, this next fire season. When you hear red flag warning, where I come from, that when they broadcast it on the morning news, those are the days that everybody puts their go bag in their cars, in their homes. That's normal for us. Those are the kind of things you should be listening or paying attention to as well, especially if you have mobility challenges or you have pets or something that's going to delay you. If you hear red flag warning here, that's something to really be seriously taken. So this is a very unusual event. This is the wildfire that happened in Port Ludlow last year in August. You guys know where the Shell gas station is? So across the street from there is Ed Tye Court, and there's a little foot trail that if you won't even see it if you're driving by. You gotta go out on foot and walk over to the curb and walk off the curb and you'll see the foot trail. It goes down to the water. It's a really nice little trail through the trees. Those of you know the trail, is there any sun that hits the ground on that trail whatsoever? No, there isn't. Yet, we had sustained active fire at midnight. Again, very unusual. In that you can see how high the flames went and how deep the char is. That is not normal. Normally at night, that's when we do our magic because the fire lays down, because we get humidity recovery, we get moisture in the air, and we can go direct on a fire. That's when we wake up to go direct on a firefight with wildland fires. This had 10 to 12 foot flame lengths when we got there at midnight. Again, because the fuel is so dry.
How did it start?
We don't know. There was a lot of cigarette butts in the area, and it is known to be kind of a smoker's stump in the area that it started, but it's hard to say definitively. Not, a majority of wildfires start by humans. I'm sure that's not a surprise. But that's Ed Tye Court there. And you can see there's homes all around it. Down here in Anchor Lane. If there had been just a little bit of wind, that would have pushed the fire rapidly towards those homes at midnight when they're all sleeping and no one's aware of what's going on. We weren't aware of what was going on. A security guard happened to be vigilant enough to watch or to see it and call us. So we were out there until dawn. We called in DNR to help us. Look at the depth of that char. That's really unusual. Then we had another one. August was a hard month for us. I don't know if it happened here, but where I live in Paradise Bay in Ludlow, we had that lightning storm the morning before that, on August 29th. We were getting I think a strike every 5 minutes. And I could see them hitting the ground up on Ludlow Ridge above my house. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, it's raining, we have measurable rain, can't be that big of a deal. The next morning, the rancher wakes up, right about there, and he smells smoke, but he can't see it. I think he lives right here. So he gets on his horse and goes up there and finds the fire. Luckily, there was no wind, but if there had been, again, these are all homes that we would have to worry about evacuating. And then the Beaver Valley fire that I'm sure most of you are aware of, also in August, fortuitously. Again, we saw the wildfire potential for this August. This is the same last year. So that's actual shot that I took on our way to the fire. The battalion chief, the incident commander, the first one on scene to be in charge, is a native here. I think he's second or third generation, so you might know him, Battalion Chief Klaus. He grew up here. He knows what wildfire does here. I don't. I know what it does in California. And his comments to me were, I've never seen wildfire behavior like this before here. We had trees torching from top to bottom, live trees in that fire. We had the fire spotting ahead of itself. meaning embers were being thrown outside the fire perimeter, outside of our control lines, ahead of the firefighters, starting new fires. By definition, those are traits of extreme fire behavior. Luckily, we got lucky on this fire on so many levels. Luckily, luck number one is this had been logged. You can see probably in the last 5 years or so. Luckily, we had water right here, because there's no water there. Luckily, the state was not doing anything, so we had a helitack on station in Olympia that we were able to get. We called up a strike team from Kitsap County, and we began evacuations along Beaver Valley Road. Again, luckily, the National Park Service, who normally doesn't go outside federal land, was in the area training with their hand crew. So they brought their whole hand crew over to help us. We had extra people on duty doing hose testing. So normally we only have 13 people per day. We had almost 20, plus everything else I listed there. And these are the three things that I thought I'd never do again when I left California. Is call out for helitack, ask for strike teams, and issue evacuations. It's happened here recently. So again, the holes in the Swiss cheese metaphor. And what can we do as a community to prevent that from happening, or at least minimize the impact, is the goal of this presentation. And why do we like living here in Jefferson County? Why do we like it? Or Maristone, why do we like living here?
Trees.
Trees, right?
Green.
Green, for now. Yeah, what else? I have wonderful neighbors, and I think you have a couple, right?